Listo, Beto, parece que ya, que ya está en vivo. Entonces,
¿Estamos?
ya parece que ya estamos. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, muy bien. Aquí finalmente estrenando las capacidades en vivo de este programa. Vamos a ver
Exactamente.
qué logramos, cuánta gente se conecta.
Ujú.
Ahí ahorita monitoreo acá, tú estás monitoreando allá.
Sí,
Y pues bueno,
exactamente.
emocionados porque estamos enlazados ahorita hasta el otro lado del mundo
Ujú.
con, con
Como
un
con Matthew.
fotógrafo y yo diría que como algo como un científico loco experimentador que ha llevado la foto a lugares donde te pones a pensar y te preguntas, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué está haciendo eso? ¿Por qué está intentando eso? Con resultados muy buenos y ahorita lo
Ujú.
tenemos aquí para preguntarle todo eso. ¿Por qué no lo
Sí,
presentas?
exacto. Y bueno, antes de eso, vamos a estar recordando de que pueden hacer comentarios en español, en inglés y obviamente Matthew los va a contestar. Y ya dije el nombre, entonces pues vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés. Entonces, we have from the other side of the world with us Matthew Stern. Matthew, how are you, man?
Hi, nice seeing you.
Nice, everything is fine right here. So thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you for having me today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us join you in this after it for you is afternoon, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
this
the end
cold
of the day.
cold afternoon.
Yeah, it's like you have the light behind you, like the glowing the snow effect. I don't know. So I think
Yeah,
it's very cold.
almost.
Fantastic, Matthew. Matthew, well, we want to know about your work, about you. So let's start with the first question. If you can help us, who is Matthew Stern, and what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm an experimental photographer and filmmaker from France, as you
Yeah.
can see. And I do a lot of, yeah, I love to experiment with vintage cameras, with vintage lenses, to try to use forgotten techniques and to learn about the old ways to do photography and create images, and also to mix this old techniques with modern technologies to create something unique and new kind of images. That's
Matthew, how did you got into photography? How was that story? Was it as a kid? Was it later in life? How did photography got to you?
well. I did a little bit of photography when I was a kid, but I think mainly I started to be serious about photography when I was around 30, and I wanted to go to Iceland for my birthday.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking I should, if I go to the most beautiful country in the world, I should have a good camera. So I bought a Sony Nex, so a mirrorless camera,
Mhm.
and I was really I didn't have a lot of money, so I just wanted to take good photos. And I learned about the fact that you can adapt vintage lenses on the Sony Nex at that time, when it was the first camera to be possible to have the possibility to adapt vintage lenses. And my father gave me his one of his lens, like a really cheap, not a great lens, but it was my first real lens, manual lens. And during the trip, I did a lot of really nice photos for me. At that time, I was really happy with them. Now, if I look at them, I will feel they are really bad. But yeah, so and I really fell in love with vintage lenses, with manual focusing, and just with photography in general. But yeah, with the feeling of having something different and creating something really unique, because everyone else in my group during the trip had really modern cameras and made exactly the same photos. And everyone was looking at my photos saying, well, how do you do that? And I said, yeah, vintage lens.
Yeah, because one thing that happened with those cameras when they came out, it was like almost everything was in focus, everything was sharp, and they were like kind of plain results. But with
Hmm.
a vintage lens, you should have a very uh, how can I say, very unique aesthetic,
Texture,
and
yeah.
and texture, and the tones, the contrast, everything is different.
Yeah,
So
and
maybe they want to borrow your lens for take their pictures.
yeah, but at the same time, it was like it was not an expensive lens, and they all paid a lot of money for their lenses. So it's always a mix of envy and a little bit of oh, it's a bad lens, it's cheap, so I don't want to use it. But at the same time, these lenses, when they were just released to the public, they were really expensive because they were made for film cameras, but at that time they were really expensive just because they are out of date, out of technology, that they are
Hmm.
cheap right now. But uh, yeah, so there is a misconception of because it's old, it's not good quality, and that's too bad for people who don't want to buy vintage lenses.
Yeah.
We've heard in with the people we interview, we've heard a similar story with how did you get your first camera? Because I had a trip, and I needed to bring a good camera to take pictures. So I think the trips are like a that needs to be fulfilled. That I need to capture this moment with the best I can. So I need to get me a camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like big events in your life, like an important trip, or maybe a wedding, or a kid who is born. Maybe you have the idea, the need to buy a really good camera, or at least the camera you dream of for this event, and that can be a way to start and to be serious about photography.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
actually, as Beto said, when you have a trip, when you have something, let's say, important to do with your camera or something that matters to you a lot, that's the key moment for you, because maybe you will have a lot of cameras, a lot of lenses, but in that moment you have to choose the real good one, and the one that you trust a lot, because it's something that matters a lot to you. So Beto, which camera was the chosen one?
For me, for my last trip,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're going. You're trying to say that you want the best camera, you want the most detail of those moments. But for me, it was I need the camera that weighs the less, because I was going to
Yeah.
to have it on me all day. So I brought
The Linhof.
the no, I don't have it right here. The Nikon S3.
And the rangefinder. Okay.
Yeah, rangefinder, very compact. And I really, at the beginning, I wasn't that good focusing on the S3, but
Yeah.
right now I just got it, and it feels so natural to me to use that camera. So I brought that one in to my trip.
You master the technique of focusing
Yeah, I
with the
brought
S3.
the Nikon S3 and the F100, and
Okay.
the F100 I didn't took it out of a backpack. It
Oh,
was
really?
only the Nikon S3.
Oh, fantastic. And you, Matthew, which is your first choice for a travel, or for a, I don't know, maybe a event, a wedding, something that you want to have a very good memory with photos?
Well, the last really cool camera I used for a trip was the Edixa camera,
Okay. So
with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a really beautiful film camera with a top viewfinder, and I took
Mhm.
it with me to Norway, to different places. Because of COVID, I didn't go, I didn't travel as much as I used to, but I took it in France to different places. And yeah, so it's really a small and light small camera that is really beautiful,
Yeah.
and so it's also a joy to use it. So you forget that is a little bit old and not so easy to use,
Mhm.
but at least you have some really interesting picture after that.
Yeah, and I think that the most difficult part with using the Dixa is focusing, right? Because it's not like i- it's have a plain focusing screen, right? No, it doesn't have a prism in the middle that helps
Uh,
you to focus.
you can change the focusing screen to have
I
one with a prism.
fantastic. That's because I that's a problem that I saw with that camera, but using it like the whole machine is it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's not that heavy that I thought.
Yeah, it depends on the lens. If the
Yeah,
lens is light, it's a light camera.
exactly. Yeah. So Matthew, which sorry, Beto, you will say something.
Yeah, I was curious. What was your first film camera, Matthew?
I think it was my parents' film camera. So they just gave me the. It's a not a really good one. It's a Fuji ST70 or something like that.
Hmm.
Like cheap 35 millimeter camera. But I shot my first film with it, and it was not so bad. So after that, I stopped for my channel for experimenting. I bought and I found other cooler cameras like the Canon F1 or the Edixa
Mm.
camera or the Spotmatic.
Yeah,
But really the first one I found or used it was my parents' old camera.
Yeah,
fantastic.
same here. My first camera was the my parents' camera, a Pentax, a K1000.
Yeah, and that's a good one. It's the I think this is the best option for starting with film photography.
Yeah, it is, and it also lasts forever. So
Yeah, also, yeah,
it's a good one.
yeah. Well, Matthew, we know that you are very well known because of your experiments and your work. So, can you tell us which one was your first experiment, your first crazy experiment that you did with film photography or maybe vintage lenses?
Well, I think my first experiment was just after I bought the Sony Nex. So I had that first vintage lens that my father gave me, but it was not the best one, and I was just curious that how old can you adapt, how old the lens can be to adapt on your Sony, and I just for fun tried to adapt a lens from the start of the century,
Hmm.
so a medium format camera lens, but for folding camera, and it worked. So my first solution was to adapt it using cardboard tube, toilet paper, cardboard tube, and scotch tape, and it was not focusing, so it was just always focusing on the same point, but it worked. So after that, I started to build my own adapters. We're using helicoids and M42 parts and stuff like that, and after that, when I was starting to be confident with the process, I posted my first real video explaining.
Oh, I think we lost your audio, Matthew. I don't know what happened. We lost your audio.
Oh no.
Let me see what. Talk again.
Does it work?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I right. Sorry. We lost you in the last part. So you were saying?
Yeah, so I after I started to be really confident with the process,
Yeah.
I posted my first video on YouTube explaining that I was adapting a 100-year-old lens on a modern Sony camera.
Mm-hmm.
It went viral for that time. It was viral, and it got a lot of views and press and articles and everything. And so I started to think that I could do more videos and more experiments, and maybe I was not alone liking these weird effects on the photos.
Yeah, I think you discovered a huge community because a lot of people had this curiosity to do stuff like with, I don't know, if you have a, sorry, if you have a a I don't know, a flea market nearby, and you found an old lens, and you would like to try it with a modern camera.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have doubts, or you don't know how to do it, but now we have a guide that has a YouTube channel with a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that discovery it was great for you, and for other people, because they really have this like sense of knowledge that you are posting in your channel. And so we are thankful for that, and there are so many crazy stuff in your channel.
Yeah.
And that's why I created also the Weird Lens Museum on my website, because uh, on my channel I have lenses reviews, and I also have experiments and film reviews or weird stuff like that. But I wanted to have one place with only the lenses, and so in the museum you can really check all the different kind of weird lenses I used, and have a direct access to other results.
Yeah, exactly. And that museum is amazing. It's crazy to know that you can access to all that kind of weird and excellent lenses. So it's it's an ongoing project, right? Because
Yeah,
you will buy a lot of lenses.
yeah. I try to update the museum all the time, and yeah. So I try to put everything I test, and vintage, modern. I don't review so much modern stuff, but I sometimes I get some interesting modern prototype, or so I integrate it inside the museum.
Fantastic. Well,
Where
well
do
ma-
where do you keep all this stuff? I mean,
yeah,
it should be a full house with lenses.
a bunker down your
Yeah,
house.
I have no more space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy. Actually, we have the first comment on the live the live video. So it's from Alex Faimali. It only put three emoji hands saying
hi
hi.
Alex.
So
Hello,
Alex,
Alex.
hi Alex. Thank you a lot for comment. So oh, and then he puts hey guys, hey
Because
Alex.
Alex is a friend of mine. He lives in Spain, and he works. He's a photographer too. So I guess he saw the live on my Instagram.
Fantastic. So Alex is from Spain. He said I'm there. I can talk. So also if you speak Spanish, we can translate. Gracias, Alex. For us. So let's continue with the interview, Matthew. I saw that you are doing a Takumar collection, right?
I try, yeah,
You're
because it's
trying.
starting to be
Yeah,
expensive.
you're trying to. You're starting. So why the Takumar collection? Why this specific line of lenses?
Well, at first I was not really interested in the Takuma, because everyone was saying how great they are, and I prefer to look for weirder stuff, or stuff that people don't care for.
Yeah,
And so I was more focusing on the Canon FD and the M42, the more obscure ones. And I don't remember when, but one day I found one lady who were selling like 5 Takumas and for really cheap. So I bought everything. And after that, I told myself, if I have 5 of them, I should have every single ones to test them. And after that, I started to look everywhere online to find good deals, and I found the 50 f1.4,
Yeah.
and I found the 17 millimeter, which I called the Van Gogh lens after because it makes everything yellow.
Yeah.
And
Because the thorium or something like that, right?
no, because they put some
Ah,
filters
yeah, they have
inside.
a filter. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you turn the filters, you have one which is really, really yellow for
Yeah.
black and white. But when you use it on a modern digital camera, it looks really, really yellow. And sometimes the filter move without any reason. You don't ask it to move, but it moves. So you have a normal color image, and it turns yellow in
Yeah,
one
and
second.
maybe sometimes it's stuck in between yellow and orange,
Yeah,
right? And then it's look very
yeah,
crazy.
and you have some beautiful
Yeah,
flares. So I made a video and I called it the Van Gogh lens, or Van Gogh lens,
yeah,
and so yeah, because it looks really like the same kind of paintings that he did,
yeah.
and so yeah, so I tried to have all the Takumas, and I think I miss maybe the longer focal. I think I have all the normal, most famous ones, and I like
What
them.
is the oldest lens that you have, Matthew?
I think it must be a large format lens from really the start of photography, so 1860, 1870.
Wow.
And one of the video I made about a large format century old lens I used on my Sony. It was, I guess, one of the first lenses with internal diaphragm, because
Mm.
before that you had to insert the diaphragm.
Yeah.
But after at a certain point, they made a system to close it from inside. And this one is really, really old. I don't know. I don't know the exact date, but I think it's the oldest. And I adapted it on red camera, and the
Oh,
footage was really impressive.
wow. I have. Do you have a video of that?
Yeah, on my channel. On my channel, I have.
Okay, I need to watch that.
Yeah, I don't remember the title, but it's like 100 year old camera lens on a red camera, something
Okay.
like that.
Fantastic. And that's the magic of your YouTube channel. You can find anything about any
Yeah, you
topic.
just jump in and get lost in
Yeah.
all the information that is there. One video talking about your channel. One video that it was like very appealing to me is where the one where when you colorize a black and white photography. How did that come to your mind? How did you decided to do that video?
Well, I really love to play with Photoshop, and I started to learn Photoshop when I was 12. So
Okay.
I'm, I'm an old Photoshop user, and so I always been interested in colorization and restoration of old photos, and at that exact moment I saw the first results for artificial intelligence for to automatically colorize black and white pictures. And so I wanted to mix the results from the AI with my talents on Photoshop, and
Okay.
I mixed both solutions. But now there's like inside Photoshop, there's a neural network that does it for you, and it's pretty good. So, but still, it needs some extra help to finish the work. So I feel like I will maybe do a new video about colorizing old photos, and I will use a neural network from Photoshop, but I will
Yeah.
still need to fine tune by hand.
Yeah, and actually, talking about colorize, and we talked this the last time, the one video with the cat that you did, that was also a very big project because you do a lot of research for knowing which color is the perfect the breed of the cat and everything. It's I don't know how much time do you took to do that, because maybe your video will last like 10 minutes, but you did this video between weeks and maybe a month. I don't know.
Yeah, for this video, it took maybe 1 month for shooting, research, colorizing, editing, everything. But normally, I try to make one video a week. So I try to shoot and edit one video taking 1 week to make one video. But yeah, it's more difficult to know in advance how long it will take. So
Yeah.
sometimes some really simple stuff take a lot of time, like printing the cat. Like for the Cyanotype cat, I maybe uh, did like 50 tries before having the right exposure. So in the video, I don't show it. In the video, it looks like it was really fast, but
Yeah.
maybe I spent 2 weeks trying to have the right exposure, and so yeah, so I don't show everything in the videos, but
Of
it
course.
takes more time.
Of course. We have a new comments from actually from Mexico City. It says greetings Matthew and to Comete el Film from Mexico City. And the other one is also a new pixel dude. How to forget the radioactive lenses video.
Yeah, so I did a video about radioactive lenses a while back, and I did a new one not too long ago, more serious one about the danger of radioactive lenses. And because I was seeing a lot of people saying online that you should not buy radioactive
Yeah.
lenses and they
Yeah.
are dangerous, and it was making me crazy because it was fake and
And because
people
you have
were
a lot of lenses, right?
yeah. But I did a lot of research to be sure I was not saying stupid stuff. But I saw a lot of people saying that they are not dangerous, and you should, if you were sleeping in a room with 20,000 radioactive lenses, and for a month, maybe you will be in danger. But just one lens in your bag, it's not dangerous. And so yeah, so I made a stupid video mocking
Yeah.
the paranoia.
Yeah, because you have to keep the lenses close to you like for a month, and maybe in that case you will get maybe a little hurt, but it's like a myth, right? It's
Yeah, no, yeah, some lenses can be a little bit more radioactive than others, like maybe experimental lenses or lenses from the early days of Kodak when they were experimenting with coatings and thorium.
yeah,
But like the Takumas are a little bit radioactive, but it's like not more than a stone or a banana or anything. Everything is radioactive. So,
yeah,
but it's good that some people are still scared to buy them because it makes more lenses for us to buy.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe one day you'll get the enough amount of lenses to be dangerous.
yeah. Yeah, maybe that would be your superpower, right? Like the origin of the superhero, that the guy who bought a lot of radioactive lenses
Radioactive lenses.
and become a radioactive man or something like that. I don't know.
Super photographer.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good idea for a video.
Night vision included.
Exactly. Yeah. So Matthew, um, talking about your YouTube channel, how about the YouTube channel started?
Well, I was starting to do a YouTube channel about more like I was working for someone else,
Mm.
and it was more about like Parisian stuff, Parisian restaurants and good places to go, and I was just filming the stuff, but I had no creative yeah, yeah, feedback to give. I just the guy who films,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they asked me to go to an island near France, which is called Corsica, and it went really bad because it was to film, a street art festival, and it went really, really bad. Everyone was really rude with me and speaking to me like a slave, that I need to do that and that and that, and not even asking if I was okay to do it, and work a lot. And I went really depressed, and I told myself I can do better than this. And it was
Of course.
at the same time I was finishing my adapter for the really old lens, but it was just for me, it was more like a hobby. And I was telling myself I should do a YouTube channel just about my weird discoveries, and
Yeah.
forget about this other channel that I really don't like. And so I came back to Paris. I never gave them the footage, and I started my first video, and like since the first video it went viral, and I
Yeah.
got a lot of press, and so it gave me the confidence to do another, and to start to create weird lenses reviews, and experiment more with my subject. That's where I
Yeah.
started.
So that's how it started, and at some point it ended in a you making a eyes lens from an iceberg to to shoot pictures.
Yeah.
How that came to your mind? Because I saw that video, it was crazy, like an ice lens. Come on.
Maybe because maybe I was doing the YouTube channel for already 2 or 3 years, and I
Hmm.
adapted a lot of vintage lenses, and different kind of medical lenses, and experimental and military lenses.
Hmm.
And I was just
Oh yeah.
thinking what kind of really basic lens I could adapt. And I was just thinking, what is transparent? What can I shape in the shape of a lens?
Yeah.
And I was thinking ice. So I started to experiment with my freezer at home, and but the ice was always with a lot of little bubbles, so it was working but not really great. And then I needed to have the perfect mold for the ice, so I called, not called, but I sent an email to Japanese cocktail maker. So they make cocktails. They make molds for ice cubes for
Okay.
cocktails. So you put
Mm.
your ice cube, and you can have the shape of a ball, or a triangle, or diamond.
Hmm.
But me, I wanted the one who make a sphere, and I modified it to make a half sphere,
Hmm.
to make a lens.
Yeah.
And after that, I 3D printed a lens body to insert the ice lens inside. And so I had everything ready, but I was thinking that would be even better. It was like ice from a mountain or glacier or an iceberg. And at the same moment, we were with my wife. We were thinking of traveling to Iceland anyway. So I told myself, okay, let's
That's the moment.
yeah, let's go for it, and let's try to do it with an iceberg.
Yeah.
And when we were on the iceberg beach in Iceland, every iceberg was away, so we have to sleep in the car to wait for the next morning for the iceberg to come back on the beach. And then what I didn't think about when I was doing my test in Paris
Yeah,
is that when you are outside in Iceland, the weather is way more cooler than in France.
of course. Yeah.
So when I needed like maybe 20 seconds to melt the ice in my place in Paris, in Iceland,
Okay.
it was more like 10, 20 minutes to make one lens. And
Wow.
the five first lenses, they broke inside the mold.
Oh,
So
come
in
on.
the end, we spent like 5 hours on the beach, freezing. And after 5 hours, we just got one working lens, and I shot everything with it. And so the video is just shot with one lens, and I was so cold, I didn't even test anymore. But it worked. The most
Yeah.
important part is that I got some images, and now they are not sharp or perfect, but you can understand what's on the image, and
Yeah.
that's the most important part.
Yeah, and actually, I want to ask you. Your wife is always that patient with you,
No,
in all the trips.
but she helped me a lot to not go crazy
Okay.
on the beach, because we I worked so hard to create the project, and I was really about to give up because everything was going in the bad way. And she told me, no, I will wait until you finish your last lens.
Amazing.
And after, she told me, now we go to a restaurant and we have a hot meal.
Yeah, exactly. A hot meal, please, because it all was freezing.
Mm. And there's no restaurant in Iceland, so we had to wait for a long
Oh,
time.
Well, that's a good experience, and you did it, and that's the important part of that trip, and the video, because if someone want to search something about a nice lens, they will find it because you
Yeah,
did it, and that's the good part of it, right? That you did it, and you can say, okay, I did it. I can go to the next project, and maybe it worked out, maybe not, but you did it. That's the good thing.
yeah, I don't have any regrets. I did it. I can do it again, or I can do it better, but at least I did it one time.
Yeah.
Matthew, about again from your YouTube channel, tell us about the anamorphic lenses that you've tried. Is it a good experience? Is it is difficult to use them? How is the anamorphic world from your point of view?
Well, at first I didn't even want to try anamorphic because it sounded so expensive and so difficult, and yeah,
Of course.
and heavy and hard to find. And then one day I found in a flea market, I found anamorphic adapter, and for really cheap. So I
Yeah.
told myself, let's try. And just after that, I met Tito, who is the anamorphic god on YouTube, and has a YouTube channel called Anamorphic on a Budget. And he told me that my adapter was not so bad and a pretty good one, and I should try to learn more about anamorphic. And from them, it's like a wormhole. Yeah, and you go inside, and now I have like, I don't know, 7 or 8 different anamorphic lenses.
Mm.
Wow.
And I got also for review, I got the new ones, modern ones like the Siriu, Surrey, and the Great Joy. And yeah, so personally, I prefer the vintage ones because it really looks like a movie.
Yeah.
And you have, when it's 2 times anamorphic, you really have the feeling of a cinemascope movie. But the new modern ones are really impressive also. And I tried to create my own focusing system, because like when you buy an anamorphic adapter, a vintage one, it can't focus. You need to double focus, which is really difficult, or you have to buy a front element that you put in front of the adapter that will focus both lenses. And this single focusing system is costing around 1,000 euros.
Wow.
So when I saw that, I told myself I can't spend that much. So I found the same thing, but from the 50s. So a really beautiful focusing system, but from an old cinema projector. And I just removed everything, just kept the both glass lenses, and I created a 3D printed system to focus the both lenses to focus my full anamorphic rig. So, and it's lighter and it works better than the one that cost 1,000 euros. So I'm really happy with the results I get with the full rig, but I still feel that it's so big and heavy and difficult to transport and expensive that it's not anamorphic is not something you take for shooting your travel or birthday, or you need to have a story to tell because and to plan your shooting before you start to shoot, because I tried to do handheld anamorphic shooting, and it's really really difficult. So you have to have a tripod, and yeah, so I think it's really interesting, and a lot of brands are starting to create anamorphic lenses for cheaper. But maybe in 2 or 3 years, anyone can have a 2x anamorphic lens for 500 euros. But right now it's more like 5,000 euros for one 2x lens, and that's the cheap ones. So yeah, I'm waiting for easier solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very, very complex. I mean, the footage is great. It is amazing. It has that feeling, that cinematic feeling, but it's too complex and too difficult for me right now.
It's
for you,
like,
maybe you're used to to make difficult things.
Yeah, like the focusing system, I was obsessed with making it work because I wanted to to keep the vintage focusing elements that were used in a real cinema for it was Gaumont, so it's a French cinema producer, and I wanted to keep the quality of the glass, but change just the housing of the lens. And for me it was more a challenge, but when you start to look at your screen when you create anamorphic footage, you really fell in love, and it's hard to look back and go back to spherical lenses, but to go outside and shoot, it's a nightmare.
Actually, Alex said that I think with a shoulder rig you could give it a try.
Yeah, I try. I created one with a smaller adapter, and now I have one rig that I can carry around without any tripod. But a shoulder rig can be, but it's not like you will be noticed outside. So if you go inside Paris with a shoulder rig and a huge lens and an expensive camera, it will be noticed, and you will have the cops asking you if you have the permission to shoot, or people who ask, are you shooting a movie? And so it's not discreet as like if you have the Edixa or like just a Sony A7 and you walk around, no one will notice you. And in big cities it's hard to have a lot really big rigs like that.
Yeah, and they will think that you're only a tourist taking photos.
Yeah, if you have a small camera, no one cares.
Exactly.
But in Paris, if you take out your tripod, at the moment the tripod touch the ground, there is someone who asks you to, do you have permission? Can you can you go elsewhere,
Yeah.
or you have to pay something. So every time
Yeah.
I take out my tripod in Paris, there is some trouble. So I I just try to avoid taking a tripod now.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
Alex said no tripod, no permits.
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of similar here in Mexico City.
Yeah,
If
actually,
you
yeah.
have a tripod, you need a permit. If you have
Yeah.
more a
Yeah.
more compact system, you you do not draw that much of attention, and you
But if
you
you have
can pass by.
if you have just a phone in any city, if you adjust your phone and you take photos or buildings, no one cares. But if you have a A7 III with a big lens and a mic on top, then you are
Oh, yeah.
officially
Yeah.
professional and a YouTuber,
Yeah.
and someone will ask you to pay for it or to ask permission.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the guy with the phone took the same pictures or the same video, and he will maybe use it on his YouTube channel. But because it's a small phone, no one cares.
Yeah. You should try to adapt a anamorphic lens to a cell phone. You know, you can record 8K with these things right now, so
Yeah.
that'll
I
be
have
a good
some
one.
anamorphic lenses for iPhone, but I never tried to put the iPhone on a big adapter. It should work, but maybe it will still be really big.
Yeah, it will be very, very, very weird to see it on the street.
Matthew, one question before we get to the last part of this interview. I'm curious about what is the from all your lenses that you have used, which one is your favorite, or what is the one you enjoy the most working with? I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, and looking all the lenses in front of you.
Yeah.
Looking them in the eye.
You have to choose one, and the other will know.
The one lens everyone ask me about all the time is Helios 44-2.
Okay.
And maybe the lens I use the less. I don't like it. But everyone asks me, what do you think about the Helios? And the Helios is like, it's an interesting lens, but it's like the most famous vintage lens because it's really cheap. But for me, I think my favorite one is maybe the Tamron 80mm f2.5, because I never found it's always perfect. Like for macro, for anything I use it for, it's always perfect. But I don't really, and because I made a funny video about how I found the lens. But yeah, I have so many. I don't really have one lens I love more than others, but I maybe love more a series of lens, like the Canon FDs,
Okay.
the first version, not the new FDs, but the first ones with the chrome nose and bridge lock. These ones are really, really good. And always, you always have beautiful images with them. And yeah, I have so many. Maybe the lenses I made myself, or maybe the lenses that I am the only one to have because I made them. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
And actually, we have two comments about one. Well, one is about the last topic. Luis is saying, I was shooting once outside a very modern building in Mexico City with a film camera, and a policeman came to me and told me I wasn't allowed to take pictures unless I did it with a smartphone. That's the weird thing
Yeah.
that you can you can experience. And the other one is for you, Matthew. How many lenses does Matthew have? Do you have a list? Maybe an Excel?
No. I have last time I checked, I think I have like 200 lenses.
My God.
But I can't keep everything, so I start to sell the ones I really don't like, and sometimes also I have the same lens two times, so I keep one and I sell the other. and when I really don't care for lens, I give it to someone who likes to collect. But yeah, I think, sadly for me, for my wife, I keep almost everything. So, so I don't have any room left, and yeah, it's crazy. And now, because at first I was just buying lenses
Yeah.
for cheap, and now people start to know the real price and the real value of lenses. So now I start to buy cameras instead of lenses. So
Okay.
film cameras, so like the Kowa 6 or the Polaroid 680
Yeah.
or the Edixa cameras. So now I maybe I buy a little bit less lenses and more film cameras, but still, if I see a good deal on a Canon FD or a Russian lens, I still buy it.
Yeah,
I try.
actually, one friend of us, Beto, Chicharo, one friend of us, they have a complete FD system to do all his work. So, and it's
Mm.
amazing, amazing. It's crazy, and he bought a rig and a focus system to work with these lenses. So the quality it's perfect. It's amazing, and he used also a Sony camera. I think this is the A7S two, something like that. So it's a good combination. The full frame camera with the FD system lenses. It's amazing.
Yeah, the Canon FD is like they made one for the Canon F1 camera. They made a line of really great lens for professionals,
Yeah.
and after that they started to make a little bit less good quality lenses for everyone else. That's the Canon new FD.
Hmm.
So when one of the first 50 millimeter f1.4 lens I ever bought was a Canon new FD 50 millimeter. And when I bought it, I was like, I have a 1.4 lens. It's crazy. And now, when I compare it with the first version of the f1.4, I feel it's like really the first version is really, it's better than, like, 5 times better than the next version.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
Wow.
yeah. Well, Matthew, I know that Beto told you that it was the last question before the last part of the interview, but I have another question because you said you mentioned it, the video about the Polaroid camera, the 680. It's
Mm.
maybe it's one of the most maybe professional Polaroid cameras made by Polaroid, of course. But how good is it? Because I saw your video. I saw that you can use the 600 package of film for this Polaroid, and they still made it, right? So that's a good thing. But this camera is actually a very good camera, right?
Yeah, I never really shot anything else than Instax.
Mm-hmm.
I never shot with other Polaroid cameras. But when
Mm.
I saw a video telling that, explaining that the 680 was the best ever camera. So I looked on eBay, and I
Yeah.
found someone who was selling for really cheap in really good shape. And the first photos I took with it, I almost did nothing. I just pressed the shutter, and they came out perfect. So I I can't say it's a bad camera because it made perfect first Polaroid.
Yeah.
And I think I have two there. Like the exposure is, I don't know if you see. No, because it's it's manual focus.
Yeah.
Oh
So
No.
yeah.
yeah,
Look, it's amazing. It's
and yeah, so you have some really good colors and contrast and sharpness, and it's the autofocus from the 80s. It was pretty good, not as good as modern ones, but it was really good.
yeah.
And I need to, I think I used the camera one time for this video, but I really want to shoot more instant film. But the price of the cartridge is so expensive that you really need to have a project to use it,
Yeah.
because it's almost €2 by film, by frame.
Yeah.
So, and when you shoot Polaroid, you sometimes make like bad framing, or you just shoot your like I made a mistake and I shot my elbow. So I have one frame with my elbow on it, so I lost €2 for that.
The most
And
expensive elbow in history.
yeah, but like so it's more a artistic project camera than the camera you take for birthdays or with your friends, because you have some really rich friends.
Yeah. Actually, Alex asked, Polaroid films are so expensive. Any tricks on finding Polaroid film deals besides the Lucky?
Yeah, the Polaroids you can find some expired packs on eBay, but even those expired Polaroid packs are starting to be really expensive. So I didn't really find a way to get Polaroid for cheaper than to go to the shop. But that's a good thing that you can still buy the packs in your local shop, because like for the Polaroid, no, that's not Superia, but the wider size of Polaroid, you can't buy anymore the film. So you can buy the camera, but you can do nothing with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's good that they still are producing the 600 film for this camera.
Yeah, you can find it fresh and not with fungus or something like that.
It should be an adapter for Instax film to those cameras, because we had in an interview Ben Fraternelli from New York, and he said the Instax modern film, it was great, but the Instax cameras weren't any good. But the film, it was. So if there is a way to adapt that modern film to these cameras, it would be great.
Yeah.
There are some people who create adapters to use Instax film on like medium format cameras like
Mamiya, something.
Bronica or Mamiya.
Bronica.
But that's maybe another level of complexity. Like if you just want to have a good quality and not a huge camera, there's no real great option right now. And this Polaroid camera, the 680, it's the only Polaroid with manual focus where you can really see, because it's a SLR, so you really see what you are going to shoot. And with the SX70, that is almost the same camera, but they are the only Polaroid cameras with the real SLR system, and that's a big plus when you want to pre-visualize what you are going to get in your final image.
Yeah, exactly. And right now there is a company called Nonce, that they made a camera with Instax adapter, and you can use the M42 lenses, and I think Nikon and Canon lenses also. So that's an option, but it's quite expensive also.
It's expensive, and I did a review of it, and it's really expensive for now, and I'm not really, I feel they need to improve the design quite a lot before it's really working, because I got some so-so results with it. So for this much money, you should have some perfect results, because almost €500 for something that works okay, but not perfect is not perfect. That's good.
Yeah, and you're the one with the authority to tell us that, because you've tried a lot of lenses and equipment.
And I think I destroyed like 5 packs of Instax to just test this camera, and I maybe have 5 photos that I really like. So
well, Matthew, we're going to the last part of the interview, that is called One Photo, una foto, una frase, one photo, one phrase. We will show you one photo of your work, and if you can tell us something about it, it will be very good. So we will start with the first photo that we choose. And let me find it because I lost it. It's right here. Is this one?
So yeah, so this one is like it's a mix of different techniques I used in the past. So I shot the image on Sony on digital with a vintage Canon FD lens.
Okay.
Then in Photoshop, I used a technique I created to make the look of the wet plate collodion technique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it recreates the look of wet plate collodion, and then I printed the image on transparent film, and then I used it to in a negative form, and then I used it to to expose cyanotype, and then I put some red pigment on it just because it was looking cool.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so you have vintage lens on digital with Photoshop used with cyanotype and mixed with real paper and shot again with a camera to put it on Instagram.
That's the way.
So
That's the way.
that's a whole life in that picture. How did you print the cyanotype? Did you use red wine, or how did you make it black?
Uh,
Or
to
coffee?
tint, no, I
Yeah, to
think
tint.
it was just a mix of the red pigment and the blue of the cyanotype.
Oh,
It
okay,
gave
okay.
this darker color. But I tried with tinting with tea or wine or vinegar,
Yeah,
and it works. But I don't. I prefer the blue version, the original cyanotype.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It
and
has
and
something special.
yeah, it's a beautiful
That
portrait
kind of
actually.
blue.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful portrait actually. It looks amazing. It looks like from the last century, but it's all the
Yeah, it really had the look
yeah
of a wet plate
yeah
photography.
Yeah, I experimented a lot with recreating the wet plate effect. And once I posted, I think this photo, I posted it on a wet plate collodion photographer group on Facebook without saying it was digital. And they were all like, "Oh, it's beautiful. What kind of chemicals did you use?"
You're
And
mean. You're
and you're
mean, man.
and you're laughing behind your computer
yeah.
like
So I said nothing, and
So
but yeah,
you should have that Photoshop action like all compiled and sell that action.
yeah, but I already sell some actions and filters and a lot on my
Mhm.
channel, but some of them I want to keep them for me
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
worked
Of
so
course.
much on the effect, and this effect I don't use it so much. I should do more portraits like that.
It
Fantastic.
really looks like a wet
Hmm.
plate. Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
it looks amazing actually. And this is the next one. It is the famous one, the cat. So and you have it right there because I saw you look up there, right?
Yeah, no, so the cat is like so I found a box in my family old house of my family, and I found a kind of time capsule inside, and inside the time capsule there was like two glass plates negatives, and I could have just scanned them and turn in change them in Photoshop, and that's all. But
Hmm.
I was starting to experiment with Cyanotype, and I was thinking maybe at that time when the glass plates were shot, maybe people were using Cyanotype to reveal the photo, to develop the photo. So I was more I wanted to recreate the same process and to create something that the final image will look like what the people saw at that time. And so I experimented a lot, and finally I got one good exposure of the cat, and after that I did a second video showing how I take the original negative and restore it and then colorize it using AI and Photoshop and different research, and to really try to bring back the cat to life.
Yeah. And I love it because it's I don't know, it's for me it's like magic. It's bringing that photo that is that old to the new for a YouTube video for instead. So it's crazy. It's a good work and it's perfect and it's beautiful and the cat is beautiful also.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
photographer, I don't know who shot the photo, but the photographer was pretty good because
Yeah,
it's a nice framing, nice pose of the cat, nice, everything is pretty professional in the photo. So I think it was maybe not the little girl who shot the cat, but maybe his father or his
Yeah.
brother or sister, or older sister. But but I guess they gave to the little girl the negatives to keep a memory. But maybe it was a really talented little girl who shot the photo.
yeah. The cat and the
Yeah.
girl will be really happy right now.
Yeah, this project is great. I mean, every picture, I think it is a window through time, but colorizing this, trying to get the colors from the original scene, it is like making that window of time going further, because this picture was never saw in color. I mean, the one who took the picture saw the scene in color, but it was recorded, it was captured in a surface with it is black and white or grayscale, and giving color to that moment with artificial intelligence and research and everything, I think it is a great project.
Yeah, no, it was really fun to do, and I'm trying to do another one where I found another glass plate, not from the same
Mm.
box, but
Okay,
from someone else, and I'm trying to upgrade the technique and maybe add some cool effects from neural networks to colorize, but maybe even animate the image and create some cool new ways to tell the story of the plate.
Sounds
perfect.
great. Sounds great. We will wait for that video.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And Matthew, this is the last photo. Is maybe one of the most popular photo that you did because of the Dixa video. So what can you tell us about it?
But it was my first use of the Edixa, so I just got it and I took it with me on a trip, and I was not really looking for any success or really important stuff for this video. I was just hoping it would work, and I didn't really think about the film I would use. I just took the film I had with me, and I had the expired Superia film 1600 film,
Hmm.
and so it was not the right film to take for a sunny for a sunny trip. But in the end, the photos look so much more interesting because of the grain
Hmm.
than if I took like a modern Kodak 200 ISO. It would have looked just like holidays photos, normal photos, and they
Yeah.
would not have that charm. And if you mix that with the Edixa camera, which is already a beautiful object, it really creates a really cool vibe to the video and to the photos.
Yeah,
It is a great one. I mean, I am personally a fan of Fuji products. So Fuji rescuing this scene, even though it was 1600 ISO, it looks great.
yeah, it looks
Yeah,
great.
and
Very
it was
dreamy, very dreamy.
expired for 20 years or something like that. So
What?
yeah,
It's 20 years. Come on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Most of the film I try to use is expired film because I feel like you have something you have a bonus to shoot if you have some weird colors. But I feel like the Edixa and the mix with weird films is like a really cool experience. Even if you don't do a YouTube video, just to practice and to have fun, it's a really cool camera to create something really great.
Yeah.
I've never used an Edixa. Now I want to use one. Do you have do you have it, David?
Yeah, I have one. Actually, it's
I know
right
it.
here. Yeah, let me take it here. It's and I show you this one to you, Matthew. I think the last time is this one. It's in focus, right? Yeah. I will lend you the camera, Beto, and you will be fascinated with this. It's an amazing camera.
That'll be great.
It's a beautiful and amazing camera, and of course, it's your fault, Matthew.
I think when I bought my Edixa, there were like maybe 20 euros, and I bought 3 of them, and no one cared. And now after my video, I think the price are more like 200, 300.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you posted on Instagram. You said maybe you can find it the Edixa, but it's not that cheap anymore. And it's true. It's they are not available right now. They may be 1 or 2 posted on eBay, but if you can find one, it's expensive because it's I don't know. It's your fault.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with speaking about vintage lenses. If I don't speak about them, no one can discover them. And if I speak about them, the price will go up because people want to have it. So there's no good solution.
There is no solution.
I think it is what it is, and that kind of thing, it is what keeps film photography alive. I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the prices go up, because the things are moving. Even the big companies, the big film companies could learn about that kind of economy, how it's moving, how it races, and they can like turn on the film machines again.
Yeah, because like there is a lot of cameras that people have forgotten and that a lot of potential, like the Edixa. And one guy from a vintage camera shop told me that next time I'm speaking about a shitty old camera, I should tell him before so he can buy a lot of them.
Yeah.
And sell it really expensive. But yeah, so that's the problem. But at the same time, if people are like motivated to try film because they think the camera looks really cool, it's a good way to experiment and to start your photographic journey.
Yeah. But that thing that you said, it's a very evil plan. That maybe you can create a Facebook group or something like that and tell guys, I will talk about this shitty camera. So please vote a lot, and then we can sell it and we can earn a lot of money.
Yeah, but he told me that about the Edixa, and I was not okay with that because I still think it's a really good camera. So for me, it was not a shitty camera. Maybe for him because he is used to sell Hasselblad and
of course,
and Mamiya. So for him, Edixa was a forgotten shitty camera. But for me, it's still a really great little camera.
And it is it's well made. It's not that heavy, and it's M42. It have M42 mount, so you can use a lot of options for lenses. It actually is a very good camera, and well, the West Label Finder, is a cherry in the top from that.
Yeah,
for that camera. So Matthew, this is the final part of the interview. Thank you very much for joining us in this chat, in this conversation, and also, can you invite all the person that will see this video to your channel and your work?
Yeah, if they want to subscribe and or at least visit my YouTube channel first,
Yeah.
and if they like it, subscribe. And yeah, so yeah, I have a lot of videos about weird lenses, weird experiments, and if they want to visit, and also the Weird Lens Museum on my website. I try to post every week videos, and also on Instagram. Yeah, so you have a lot of options to discover, and also experiments with the lens I speak about.
Yeah, and we forgot to talk about the Ron Swanson video again, but you need to watch it if you're a fan of Park and Recreations, or only fan of Ron Swanson. It's amazing. It's an amazing video, and a good and funny research about it.
Yeah, it was really funny to to try to discover what camera he was
Yeah.
using in the show, because I have this obsession with cameras used in movies and TV shows, and sometimes it's really easy to
spot it.
pinpoint,
Yeah.
to spot it, and sometimes it's really difficult. And the Ron Swanson episode with his camera, it was really difficult to know which one, and I think I found the right camera.
Yeah, and also you use the artificial intelligence to to do the voice.
Yeah.
It's all well made. It's all a good piece of humor and curiosity and research about film cameras. It's amazing.
If it's on my channel if you want to check it, and
Yeah.
yeah, so please come please come to,
Yeah.
to discover
Yeah. If
more
if-
videos.
Yeah, if you're somebody that's watching this video and for some reason you haven't been to Matthew's channel, go on right now.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed. There's a lot of crazy stuff there.
Actually, yeah. Well, Matthew,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Matthew, and thank you for your work. And just keep posting very interesting videos in YouTube, because we are always waiting.
Thanks to you for having me on this cool podcast, and maybe we'll do another episode soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure,
No
for
doubt.
sure. And
For
always
the next season.
Yeah, actually, for the next season, and also we always saying that there is an open invitation for all the people that if you want to come to Mexico City, let us know, and
Yeah, of course.
we can shoot any weird lenses in the street without a tripod, so we can enjoy the trip.
Okay. And
Photos and tacos. We should make a video about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I will bring the French cheese.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, please.
Exactly, yeah. And sorry, I saw a picture on your Instagram that it said, anyone wants a French baguette, something like that, and it was like a a penis shape baguette that you post. It's an old picture.
Oh, maybe it's old.
Very, very old, because I did research for your picture, but I have a big laugh about it.
Oh yeah, it's a shop in Paris that sells baguette in shape of dicks or
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck is that? Well, Matthew, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and please keep doing the great job.
Thank you, and see you soon.
Thank
See
you,
soon,
Matthew.
Matthew. Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.